Number 1, decide what you want. It may sound obvious, but in order to get somewhere, you have to know where you're going and be fairly specific. For example, if you want to get fit, say how much weight you want to lose or how much muscle you want to gain. If you want to make money, decide on how much you want. If you want recognition, who do you want it from? What groups of people? In what industry? Etc. Number 2, write it down. This means bringing your goal into the physical world. You want it to be visible. You want it to be memorable. You want to see it when you're just walking around doing whatever you do. So ideally, maybe you have some stickies. Write it down. Put it somewhere obvious. Number 3, make a deadline. A goal without a deadline isn't really a goal. It's just an aspiration or a wish. By giving yourself a deadline, you can give yourself pressure to get it done. And it's not meant to cause anxiety. It's fine if you don't hit the deadline. You can always make a new deadline. But you want to tell yourself by some date, something is going to happen. And as that date gets closer, if you haven't made any progress, you will know and you will feel it. If the deadline feels really vague, you may also need to break it up a little bit. So if you say, I want to make $1 million in 5 years, for example, well, how are you going to do that? You're going to have to come up with some ideas in the interim of how to get there, depending on where you're starting. Maybe you have to first find better ways to make income so that you can make more. Perhaps you're going to have to find better ways to invest your money so that your money can work while you're out doing other things. If the goal is too big, you can break it down into interim goals and assign deadlines to each of those. Number 4, create a list of every possible way you think you can achieve your goal. Come up with a lot of ideas. Ideally, come up with 20 ideas, unless you can get that easily and then do more. If you have, say, 3 things you wrote down, and this is how you're going to achieve your goals, push yourself to get 17 more. The goal of not letting yourself get up until you've hit a certain number, like 20, is to really force yourself to think outside of whatever constraints you're already in. For example, if you want to get fit, obviously you're going to think about what you'll need to do in the gym or how you're going to need to go run, do some cardio. You'll think about your diet. Beyond that, maybe you could think about how you're going to start a fitness-related YouTube channel. And in doing so, you get more motivation because you're going to have to be on camera. You're going to have to come up with information that you think will benefit others. It's not necessarily directly getting you more fit. It's not necessarily changing the shape of your body, but it's pushing you in the right direction. Number 5 is to sequence and prioritize, and do both of these. What that means is decide what needs to come first, what needs to come second, etc. When do these have to happen in order? And also to prioritize, which is to say, you need to know what is the most important. Whatever your goal is, which of your list items is going to make the biggest impact? Using the fitness example, one of the things you can do with the biggest impact is just to be consistent. Consistent in your diet, in your sleep, in going to the gym. However, in terms of sequence, it may be that you first need to get a gym membership, or maybe you need to change how you sleep to get better sleep. Maybe you need to throw out a bunch of things in your fridge because they're unhealthy. There are often a lot of things you need to do first that aren't necessarily the most important, but they do need to happen. So the sequence and the priority will likely be different. And number 6, the final step, is to take action. Obviously you have to go do. And so the last step is simply to do. All those items you wrote on your list are now things you can go do, so it's time to start doing them. And beyond just doing them, it's time to start making a habit of it. So part of step 6 is doing something to move towards your goal every single day. That doesn't mean necessarily you go to the gym every single day. That might be counterproductive. But you do something. That something could simply be reviewing your progress so far. It could be making a plan for the next phase. It could be sharing your journey with someone you know and respect. But by doing something every single day that you feel furthers your goal, you build momentum. You start to feel like things are happening, and you build a habit. And together, this is how you get going. This is how things that seemed really hard can become, if not easy, pretty automatic. Going to the gym is still going to take time. Saving money is still going to require not spending on other things. There is no right way to achieve your goals. If whatever you're doing is working, then you don't need to change anything. It's more if you find yourself making goals and then later not meeting them or not meeting them as well as you wanted. Maybe you come up with a New Year's resolution and you didn't follow through after a number of months. In those cases, try something new. Try something new. Try something like writing it down, giving yourself a deadline, spending a good amount of time thinking of various ways that you can achieve your goal, prioritizing that list, putting things in sequence, and then taking action after you've done that upfront work. Here's the list again. 1, decide what you want. 2, write it down. 3, set a deadline. 4, make a list of all the ways you could achieve your goal. 5, sequence and prioritize all the items on that list. And 6, take action.